Good morning. Rainy old day, isn't it? Alex is here with the weather forecast in the next 10 minutes. Apparently they've had hailstones the size of pickled onions in Yorkshire. I love the way they categorise sizes in Yorkshire. Only by Wensleydale and pickled onions, it seems. So we'll find out what's going to happen in Nottinghamshire, and it's quite lively today and tomorrow. Taking a country walk could be a wet one if you do that today. And it's a great pleasure, isn't it, to get out into the countryside, into nature. But there is a warning that there could be something lurking in the tall grass that you need to be aware of. There's been a significant increase in cases of Lyme disease in the UK, with a study of GP records suggesting that the condition might be 3 times more common than currently reported. It's a kind of bacterial infection spread to humans via bites from ticks, infected ticks, and the symptoms can include a circular red rash, often described as like a bullseye on a dartboard. Have a listen to Jen Thomas. She's from Newark and she's had Lyme disease twice. The most recent time was from Woollerton Park. She says she was bitten by a tick when she went to the Splendour Festival.
Both times I didn't see it. I think, unfortunately, it's without being disgusting or putting people off their food, their head can detach from the body, which you can't see, and then it later falls off, so you often don't see them. And also because both times it was on my lower legs, it can mean that the tick gets brushed off in the grass or when you're moving around, or because I had welly boots on, it may have rubbed off against that.
Julia Knight is from the charity Lyme Disease UK, and she's also a Lyme disease sufferer. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
What's it like to have Lyme disease?
In my case, very distressing because it wasn't picked up quickly. I didn't realise I'd been bitten, like the lady you just spoken to. And within 5 months of my holiday in a foresty area, I was bedridden for a few months and housebound for the next 7 years.
Housebound for 7 years?
Yes, I was very ill. What happened was obviously the infection wasn't picked up. It affected my nervous system really badly because if the treatment isn't started quickly, if the diagnosis doesn't come quickly and treatment starts, the bacteria can invade either your nervous system, it can affect your heart, it can affect your joints. In my case, it affected my nervous system and brain really badly.
And how are you now?
I'm probably about 70% of the person I was, but I've never worked since.
Gosh, all from a bite from a tiny tick?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what's scary, isn't it? But not all ticks carry the disease.
No, they don't. But sadly, they don't carry a label saying I'm not infected. So the best thing to do is prevent a tick bite in the first place. If you know you've been bitten, know what to do.
Yeah, so how would you do that? I mean, for example, this is frightening me a little bit. Every year we go up to the Highlands of Scotland and we have a wonderful time out in the wildlife with the children. But they very often come back at the end of the day and we have to remove ticks.
Okay, so just the same as you, I've recently been to a holiday in the Highlands, and considering the work that I do, and I'm obviously always banging on about protecting yourself, my husband came back from a walk with an embedded tick.
Oh.
So, and that's with all the knowledge I've got.
Because you tuck your socks in, you put your long sleeves on, but they still seem to be able to wriggle up and wriggle in and find the soft places as well. Ooh.
I think the most important part of the whole thing is being aware in the first place, like you are, using repellent. If if you know that you're going to be out walking the dog even, parks, but the most important thing is to check yourself and your children and your pets every day in summer. And really check, because they love to get to little warm places, particularly with children, under the hairline, behind the ears, with adults, behind the knees, under the armpits, all the warm places, that I could mention.
Oh dear. And so whip them out as soon as possible, and then just what? Be vigilant for anything that might crop up afterwards.
Okay, be vigilant. So some people get what's known as a bullseye rash that you mentioned, but bearing in mind, it doesn't always take that shape. It can be a solid rash. You're looking for a rash that slowly spreads. It doesn't normally appear for at least 3 days after a bite. And then all of a sudden, this rash will appear. And the nature of the rash is it spreads slowly over the next few days. However, not everybody gets a rash. So look, if you know you've been bitten or you've been in those sort of areas where you could have been bitten, look for an unusual flu-like illness, because you wouldn't normally get the flu in summer, would you?
No, and that could be an indication. Okay. All right. Thank you, Julia. Good to talk to you. She's, she's been very ill, hasn't she, with Lyme disease, and now represents the charity Lyme Disease UK with a bit of advice. It's